Determination to change the nation, I'm manifesting the truth. Back in the booth to give you the messages that's been channeling right through me. No, I'm not Jesus, although my spirit is great. I'm eating my food without a plate, escaping this place through my meditation. New life begun when I reloaded the gun and realized where I was from was not too far from the sun, like somewhere close by the moon. Now I'm connected like Zoom. On walks of life that ever lived call me like out of the blue. So I just pass it to you, right through your speakers with clues. And if you choose to free your mind, then you will have all the tools. But I can't make you take it and shake it and mentally break yourself out. Cause freeing your mind without a doubt is something you have to try out. But once you see the light, your might, and all the power you've had, then you have reached the fifth dimension and you can brighten your path. But others who choose to follow the red pills, it's harder to swallow. Or you can wallow in your sorrows, feeling all empty and hollow. The only way you'll see the truth is if it's starting with you. So please stop lying to yourself, start being truthful to you. The only way you'll see the truth is if it's starting with you. So please stop lying to yourself, start being truthful to you, to you. Yo, yo, yo. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Grand Rising, whatever you want to say, for the second time in a week. So, yeah, either I talk too much or we just got a lot to talk about. One of the two. Let me check these comments, make sure everybody there. Yep, okay. Hey, Natalie. How you doing, girl? Okay. So, we about to hop right into it. Yeah, we talking about Mr. Blake. And today we unpacking the truth. And I know it might feel like, just won't let it go, or, whatever people think. I don't care, because this is a whole human being that's been missing since August 17th. So I guess for people who don't know, we're going to start with, who is Mr. Blake? And what's the beginning of the tape, or the beginning of the incident about what happened. So Mr. Blake is an 80-year-old man, been missing since August 17th. He has dementia, and it was believed at the stage. Okay, can y'all hear me now? I think when I removed myself, it took away my audio. Can you hear me now? I think you can. Yep. Okay, Monique said yeah. Okay, so like I was saying, Mr. Blake, he's been missing, diagnosed with dementia. They said he walked away from his J.C. Wade Villa, 3464 Ohio Street, where he lived. Okay? Now, I want y'all to look at this, though. Look at Mr. Blake. I know everybody got some grandpas, dads. Take a look at this picture. This is a man that took pride in himself.
right? Look at the rings. Look at his watch. This was a brother, and he called himself Pone, short for Al Capone. Okay? So he wasn't some chump dude. All right? So I want to make sure that's clear. He wasn't some chump. And so August 17th, 4:30, they saying he walked off, and there's supposed to be the last sighting of him was on 31st and Bedford. Okay. Now, what we do know about Mr. Blake is this. There was no EMS system used. And that's the emergency system that they use when somebody goes missing that qualifies for the system to be used that don't qualify for the Amber Alert. So if it's not a little kid, then they use the EMS system. And they said Mr. Blake did not qualify because he was not listed as 24-hour care. And when we went through the qualifications, y'all might have to check the other videos. I don't feel like pulling it all back up. But he actually did qualify for 3 of the listings. And one of them was, is he an elderly person believed to be in danger because of his age? Believed to be in danger because of his health condition? Or believed to be in danger because of the weather? And we know at that time, during August 17th, Mr. Blake it was very hot, very hot. I think we were coming into a heat advisory. And hold on one second. We were coming into a heat advisory. And at that time, we the news and everybody was saying that it was so hot and people shouldn't be out. So here, let me add myself back in here. Let me remove this real quick. Okay. And so the police actually waited 10 days to tell the community that he was missing, right? We know that. There were no immediate 2-mile radius searches, which is what they normally do when somebody with dementia goes missing. Immediate 2-mile radius search. No UTV or all-terrain vehicles used. No drones. No collaborations with other departments. And see, in this information, I'm not making this up. What I did is I looked at other missing person cases, and I just pulled the words from what they used to find other people and noticed that those same words weren't used for Mr. Blake. Those same resources. So you'll have to do that research on your own because I don't have a lot of time today, but I do want to get to the point. There were no collaborations with other departments. No thermal planes. Okay. We initially, Miss Monique Summers, shout out to her. She was one of the initial people who started the searches looking for Mr. Blake. And everybody asks us the same stuff all the time, but we did check all the hospitals, the homeless shelters, the National Mission website. I made them put him on the Nebraska State Patrol website, even though they said he didn't qualify. They put his picture up first with just no information. So then I had to re-email him and say, why don't you have any info? They had his information with no picture. So I'm like, here's a picture. Use this picture for Mr. Blake's profile so it can look like a freaking profile. So they did. So then we also reached out to Dementia of America, national dementia websites. So they were able to help distribute to all homeless shelters, all hospitals. Everybody was put on notice that Mr. Blake was missing. Okay. So there was a day. I don't know if y'all remember, it was a picture of me at the police department. And I said, today they are going to find out why they say I'm untamed. And it was a picture of the police department. On that day, This is how God works. On that day, I was going to go to the police department by myself. Terry had to work, and I showed up to the police department, but Terry was already there. He took off work, and he decided to meet me there because I was going there to get the information that they had on Mr. Blake. And they kept saying they had these videos. So I'm like, okay, we want to see the videos now. And the initial detective tried to tell me that's just not how it works. I don't listen to that. You can't tell me how something works when you work for us. So I hung up the phone in his face and I went to the police department myself. When we got down there, they told Terry that the officer in charge of the case was not there and we had to come back. And I said, that's not good enough. And I sat there. Me and Terry both sat there until we got what we wanted. And I told them they was going to have to take me to jail. I didn't care. And so they sent a couple people out. I still didn't care. We stayed. Just so happened that day, Channel 3 contacted Terry and said they wanted to interview him about his dad and they was going to come to his job. But he said, I'm at the police station. Come on down here. So he came to the news, showed up at the police station. And the moment that happened, then one of the detectives came down and said, hey, who's this guy out here, with the news? And I said, he's with me. We're here because people don't seem to know how to do their job. So we got the dialecting about Mr. Blake, right? So my request was I wanted to see the video footage that they had of Mr. Blake leaving his apartment. I wanted to see the video footage that they had of him on this doorbell camera. Like, I want to see it. We deserve to see it. And Shonda and them gave me permission to act on their behalf and talk. So I was like, okay. And so he told me that the doorbell camera footage was like fish-eyed. I understand that. And the other footage that they had was from right there on that corner, that little new learning center that they just built over there off of 30th. And the back camera facing Adams picked him up, but it's so pixelated you can't tell who or what it is, right? And the doorbell camera was not good enough to see for sure if it was his face. So I said, what about the camera footage from his apartment? And so the first story he told me was, sorry, Mr. Wells, they didn't have video cameras at that place. Who do he think he's talking to? I said, sir, I've been to that place numerous times, and there is over 16 cameras just on that first floor outside of Mr. Blake's apartment. He said, oh, okay, let me make a phone call. Okay. So he makes the phone call and come back with, oh, well, the initial detective who started the investigation, he had it. So we'll get it, I'm like, okay, now here's how God works. This is how you know God is right with us every time. The lady from the apartment building, I had called her earlier that day. She called me right while I was standing there with that detective trying to determine why we didn't have no video. And she said, Mr. Wells, the reason why there is no video is because I told the police when I went through the apartment complex video on August 17th, 3 times, Mr. Blake was not seen on tape. Leaving, coming, being outside, on the elevator, nothing. Right in front of the detective. And I said, so did anybody think at this point now, you should go back and look at the 16th or the 15th? At least let's go back and see when you last see Mr. Blake. Nobody thought to do it. So by the time I went to the police department, guess what? The video had already been overwritten. I'm going to just sit there for a second and let you think about what I just said. The video to see exactly what day Mr. Blake left was already overwritten. And the woman who worked there, she worked there for 21 years. And she said she knows what he looks like. And she never seen him in the hall, at an exit, by the elevator, never on August 17th. But nobody, not even the apartment complex, decided to go back and at least see, okay, when was the last time we saw Mr. Blake? Nobody thought to do that, okay? So now, and so that day, let me see, that was September 25th when I found that out. And I just didn't run and come tell everybody because, for one, I had to do some follow-up to make sure everything was legit. And so it was true. And so we didn't have no footage. But then the police say that they have video footage of somebody walking up the street on August 17th. But how can that be Mr. Blake on your video doorbell footage if the lady at the apartment is saying he was never seen leaving the apartment? He wasn't there. Something ain't right. And what's trying to be done is more or less discredit her from saying she maybe looked at the wrong date and that's why she didn't see him. Not that that video is just probably some random old dude you caught walking down the street, because you can't say for sure that it's Mr. Blake. Nobody can. Now, you know, I don't just talk. I have receipts for stuff. And if y'all give me just a second, I'm going to pull up one of my receipts. Because you got to have them whenever you're dealing with people, because they'll just say, you just saying something. You just talking. You just saying it. You don't have no proof. And I would have been queued up, but I've been on the phone talking to my people. There's a lot of stuff going on. Give me a second. Okay. Yep, I got it. All right. Hold on one second. Let me see. Should I just send it, or let me tell y'all. Okay, y'all let me know. I think I might just send it in because you might not be able to hear it. Let me see. Okay. All right. Tell me if you can hear this real quick.
Okay. So yeah, I think he was the first verse. Then there was a second, and now there's three others added to the case. So,
can y'all hear that? Or I should send it to the thing so you can hear it louder. Let me know in them comments. We can. Okay. Listen closely. This is the conversation with the lady at the apartment complex that I had with her about the video.
yeah, I think that's what it's just gonna come down to, is that video from that you said, did you go through it yourself, or it was another lady?
No, I personally went through it. Three times, because I watched first the one exit, then I watched the elevator, and then I watched the other exit. And there was, I never saw him. And I know what he looks like because I've been the manager there for over 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Did you hear what she said? Did you hear what she said? She went through it 3 times, and she's been the manager there for over 20 years. And she knows what he looked like. And he was not on video for August 17th. So what are we talking about? So what I've recently been doing, me and a few other people, we've tried to get Crime Stoppers to host a reward that the community is going to offer to pay for information leading to Mr. Blake. And we proposed the idea to them, and they said no, because they don't consider it a crime. But at what point do our lives become important enough for you to actually start investigating in multiple ways to find out what happened? We're at 127 days, y'all. So what I need y'all to do is to call Crime Stoppers, for one, and ask them why won't they host a reward, or even they can put up the money themselves. Because just leading to any information about the disappearance of Mr. Blake, that's what we need. Because when you offer a lot of money, people gonna talk. And also, we need to get more in depth on what's actually going on. Because I talked to that lady again Friday, and she said nobody has ever reached out to her after me, even though I've passed her information on. This is what's happening. And I told y'all wasn't going to like it. But at this point now, we have to keep pursuing and putting the pressure on for the case to be solved, or at least find out where he's at and what happened to him. Okay? She said the news and the police department sure making media with these other cases. Old boy is on Dateline. How? He has been missing 30 days and Mr. Blake has been missing since August. Miss Jones, Miss Jones, Miss Jones. You know that's the truth. And do we know the answer to that, anybody? They definitely showing a white man that has only been missing for a month. His family was on the news today. Man, Kia, you put the key words in there. They definitely showing a white man. Why can't Mr. Blake get the same attention? Why can't Mr. Blake's case get more and more and more investigation done? You already dropped the ball at the beginning by waiting 10 days to tell us he was missing, by not using no thermal planes, by not doing a 2-mile radius search, by not taking it serious that he had dementia and not using the emergency system. You dropped that, okay? And that's why where we at now. But now with this video being questionable of either that's even him or not, so now we're not even sure if we've laid eyes on him in, I don't know how long. Okay? When do it become necessary for the actions to be taking place for it to happen? And do we just sit back and keep, oh, Christmas coming up, y'all, happy holidays, and this man is still missing? It could be any one of y'all peoples, man. I don't know this man from a can of paint, but he's a man. He's a black man. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I wanted to tell you. I'm gonna get off here before I raise my blood pressure. Yeah, I just want him to be found. I want to find out what's going on, and if anybody got any information, please just reach out. If you got any information about Mr. Blake, please reach out. And yeah, he said, wow, I didn't know all that. I seen his flyer at the dollar store. They just don't care about us. Tanya Haley said, get the hammer. We got to come with the hammer. And this is all information that I found out without going through the police. This was the information that I found out digging and digging and digging and digging and digging. And there's still more. I'm just not going to go that far yet until I figure this part out, because I don't want nobody getting hurt or harmed, okay? We just need to figure out where Mr. Blake is, or the hammer gonna turn into a sledgehammer. All right, y'all. Peace and hair grease. I love y'all.